Welcome again to Rick Helps Real Estate Show with my friends at Zoodealio. How's everybody doing today?
What's up, Rick?
Hey, Rick. Glad to be here.
Yeah. Happy Monday. And gosh, I yesterday morning I looked and I go, Trump proposes 50-year mortgage, and the YouTube world just went.
Right. A 50-year mortgage. That's insane.
It's
what's
there's
insane too is an 8-year mortgage or 8-year car loan as well. So I feel like those have gone crazy too.
Well, I think I don't think it's going to explode the market. I don't think it's going to add a whole lot of momentum. I could be wrong. I mean, it's definitely going to. What I see in the lower payments is kind of offset by not having too much principal paid. So you're saving $300 here, but you're losing $300 over here. But nobody's going to get a 50-year mortgage and just let the whole thing ride for 50 years. They may come in and sign up for this 50-year mortgage so they can get a lower upfront payment and then refinance down the road. Whenever they get the opportunity, they'll certainly have time. But I don't think somebody's going to grab and hold that. And so when you're looking at the amortization table, I think you just need to ignore that. But then you also need to do some math and go, okay, instead of a 50-year mortgage in today's real estate environment where sellers are willing to contribute towards closing costs and buying down your rate, maybe that's worth exploring more than a 50-year mortgage. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree. I think the concern is that we're going to just create indebtedness for life. I mean, really, because what we know is what people move on average, what is it, every 11 years now, the 10 years are up a little bit, but they move. And so they'll likely, if they get a 50-year mortgage, they'll move out of it and they'll get into another mortgage. And I just see this cycle of where you're constantly in this mortgage, but then part of me is like, we do know, especially Gen Z, they're delaying household formation. And one of the main reasons they say is because of housing affordability. They can't buy houses. They can't afford it. And so would that savings, as you mentioned, I think on a median priced home, it'd be about $300 a month, give or take. And of course, that depends on interest rates. But would that be enough to move that, first-time home buyer into the market? And would it be a better strategy than, like you mentioned, maybe just getting a rate buy down from the seller? It's an interesting times, interesting thought. And is it enough to move the market, or is it, does it have legs underneath it? I guess is what I'm trying to figure out. Is this really a good solution?
I don't think so.
You don't think so?
I don't know. No. I think so most Americans hold like, what is it, like 80 or something? It's like a very high percentage of their wealth in their house.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah. Yep.
Like, so if we have this whole generation that is not buying houses, what it's going to be like when that generation is older? They're just not going to have any wealth, or will they switch that and start saving somewhere else to build wealth than their house? Because a lot of these generations that we live in, it's a massive amount of people that own that most of their wealth is in their house. It's not like anywhere else. So I just think, I think it's a terrible idea. 50-year mortgage. I don't know. I guess I haven't really thought completely over it, because there are a generation that may not be able to even afford a 30-year mortgage. So is it better to rent than to do a 50-year mortgage, or is it better to do a 50-year mortgage and not rent? I guess that's the thing. I think there's definitely going to be, if you can afford a 30-year mortgage, afford a 30-year mortgage, right? Or if you do the 50-year, add more onto your principal so you can pay it off and pay it off faster. But if you're just like not going to buy a house and you're going to rent for 50 years, is that better? I don't know.
Well, that's a good point. No, I think if
it's better rent for 50 years or buy for 50 years.
I think if the 50-year mortgage gets us more parity between rent and buying, then obviously buying's the way to go. And I just think people need to view the 50-year mortgage as probably a a temporary stepping stone, not getting it, hanging on to it till, you're 90, 95.
Yeah.
So it's just another
Yeah.
financing tool. So, if you can, especially in an environment now where the odds makers are saying that rates are going to go down, may not be a bad idea. I'm wondering if the 50-year mortgage is going to come in at a slightly higher rate than the 30-year.
Ooh. Okay. So then if that
Well,
was
I mean,
the situation, what would even be the benefit?
Well, because a 15-year mortgage is usually lower
Yeah.
than a
That's true.
30-year.
Yeah.
So of
Mhm.
course,
Yeah.
probably a 50-year is going to be a little bit higher than a
Mhm.
30-year. But I guess I think you're right. It's a stepping stone, right? It's got to be a stepping stone for people, because I think you see a lot of these young kids, they can go out and buy a $70,000, $80,000 car and mortgage and have a payment for 8-9 years, right?
Right.
So what I would rather this next generation do, if I were to say, hey, don't buy these brand new cars, go buy a beater, something that gets you from point A to point B, and do a 50-year mortgage. But I think if they don't have an option to even buy a house, they're going to rent, and they're going to they want to buy something. So they go buy a 2026, Jeep, whatever it is. It's like $80,000. And then they have a payment of $1,000 for 8-9 years, which is crazy. But if you can do a 50-year mortgage, you're not only, you have the interest deduction as well, right? So you get to reduce that off your taxes. So there's money right there. And then not only that, is you are on the appreciation train. You're in the game. I don't know. I haven't really
It sounds like
gone through it all, but
you maybe haven't fully processed it, but as I'm listening to you process, you're thinking yes, this could be a good thing. This could move the market. It could get buyers in.
It could get buyers in earlier in their 20s, rather than hey, because right now people are waiting until they're 30 because they can't afford it. They're waiting to get the income or get the job, get the new job that pays more to where they can actually buy a house. But if they're chasing the market and their income is going up, but the prices of houses are going up as their income going up, they're just gonna rent. So is it better to rent for 50 years, or is it better to pay a payment for 50 years and own? I don't know.
Should they leave this 50-year option and exclude investors?
And that's a great idea. It's interesting, Nick, you've just mentioned two things that I hadn't. Is, will there be a premium on the rate for a 50-year mortgage? Will the 50-year mortgage apply to both owner-occ and investors? And again, just waiting to hear more on this plan. It does seem like the FHFA is considering it. They're working with Fannie and Freddie to add it into the guidelines. Those are two great questions. And, should they exclude investors, right? If we're really, I guess it depends on what we're really trying to do. Are we really trying to create a you're in debt for life-based society? And in that case, then let's go investors, add investors. If we're really trying to help the emerging entrants into the housing market, then we probably should investors and give this opportunity to the owner occupants. What do you think, Rick?
Well, I'd like to see investors not participate in it, because they're going to use it as a short-term instrument. And so I don't want real estate to reignite. I'd like to see affordability kind of stay. I think there's still enough of a gap between new listings and new contracts to where this may close the gap, but not enough to where it's going to accelerate pricing. I think it's an option that first-time home buyers could look at, that go, okay, this helps me slide in a little bit easier. But I agree with Jason's comments about car payments. That's one of the major barriers we see. You talk to the lenders and they go, you should see the car payments these kids have.
Yeah,
And,
exactly, right?
Not
You
only
can't
the
afford a
car
house because you
payment,
have a car payment that's
insurance.
$900.
Yeah. Yeah. My brother was,
And I think I mean, there's gotta, yeah, it really irks me that, some of this young generation, they can go buy these big fancy cars and and they don't even, they don't need 30 days to do a loan on a car that's $100,000. It's like, and those things are driving around. I mean, you can hide a car. You can't hide a piece of real estate. It's the piece of real estate sitting there, right?
It'd be a
I
lot
mean, you
harder.
can destroy it and make it probably, but it kind of irks me that that you see a lot of these younger generations with these very expensive cars and big giant car payments, but then they don't own any assets. Like, I would like to see the opposite of that. And so I think maybe a 50-year mortgage would allow that to happen, to where, somebody can go, I can't have a really nice car, but I have a house that I own. I'd rather see somebody strapped to a 50-year mortgage than a 10-year $100,000 car payment that is going to depreciate and be worth nothing in 15 years, right?
Yeah,
so
my brother.
I can see both. I can see the positives for it, I guess.
Years ago, my brother, he was in his 30s, I think, and he was getting a divorce, and the divorce was coming due, and he told my dad, who was a real estate broker, he goes, "I'm going to buy a boat." Because then my dad goes, "No, you're going to buy a house, then you're going to buy your boat." And to this day, he goes, "That's the best advice he ever got." He got his boat after the house, and he built this equity, and then he stepped up to another one and another one. Now he's an incredible home. It's nearly paid off. I mean, think about how many times he's refinanced over the lifetime of that home. He didn't, he started out 30 years and then refinanced it and then changed it to a 15-year. So the 50-year has to be viewed as not 50 years. I don't think, and in my video that came out Sunday night, I don't view it as, oh, wow, here's the fix, here we go. I'm like, okay, it's an option. Is it going to have the impact that maybe the administration thinks it will? And I'm thinking, probably not. It won't hurt. I think it's just an option, just like the 15 years now. That doesn't work for some people. It does work for others. You're going to look at 15, 30, and 50. And you look at 50 and go, wow, that's a lot of interest over the course of the loan. And you're going to go, the payment's sweet. Maybe if I can stay here for 3 years in that product and then move it, this could work for me. So that's the way your eyeballs should be looking at the 50-year mortgage, I think.
Exactly. And so you're stuck at that price, and then you see like, if you see 5-6% appreciation every year, I mean, yeah, you're making super high interest payments, but you're also getting appreciation in the property. And if you able to, then you get the promotion and you're making more. Now you've at least have that basis of appreciation that you can roll into the next house and maybe go to a 30-year mortgage.
Right.
Well,
I
keep in mind that back in the periods of high inflation in the early 80s, there were loan products out there that were negative amortization. Every time you made a payment, you owed more on your house.
Yes.
So this
isn't
the dumbest idea.
Agreed. There have been some insane loan products I remember selling during the 2004, 2005, 2006 market, and seeing some of those negams, and it was just crazy. So you're right. This isn't the worst idea. And I love how you put it, Rick. It's a stepping stone, right? So it's not where we want to end and be, but it maybe helps us get from where we are to where we want to go. And I think it's a great way of looking at it.
Especially the next generation, the younger generation, if they can get in just a little, like 5 years earlier than normal, and then don't make a bad decision on, buying $100,000 vehicle, that might be better. I mean, because you can go at 18 years old, if you have decent credit and a job, you can go get an $80,000 car.
Right.
But you can't have good credit at 18 years old and go buy a house.
Not with a loan.
Because you have to have 2 years employment. So that blows my mind. And I think that's it kind of screws young kids too, because they're 18 years old, they're dumb. They think, oh yeah, I need this fancy car. I see the commercial and I want to buy the $80,000, $90,000 vehicle, and then 5 years down the line, they still have that vehicle and they still have the payment, and they're in a position to, if they didn't have that payment, they could buy a house, but then they can't because now they have this vehicle.
Well, whenever I see a
We-
young person that's got a really fancy car or a truck, I always look at them and smile and go, man, I want that when I grow up.
Jason gets very passionate
I
about
do.
this.
I do.
And we talk about he thinks there's because you can go get auto loans and other credit so easy. Getting an actual loan for a home is much more.
Yeah, I mean, for myself, like I can literally go to the Mercedes dealership right there and go buy a $250,000 G-Wagon with my credit. I don't have to show any income.
You
They'll
just
just walk in. They'll, I can have a $5,000 or a $6,000 a month payment, but I can't go buy, a condo down here in Santan Valley for $200,000 without 30 days. And then they want to see all my, everything, it's and it sits there, it's a piece of real estate.
Well, this proposal will take some time because Congress has to change the Dodd-Frank law. So they for them to implement this, because Dodd-Frank
and
has
we
some
know
language.
how great they are at getting things done.
Yeah. Supposedly the shutdown ended last night, but man, what a fiasco that was, and that just made my skin crawl. And that could be a whole nother show. But so this will be interesting to watch. It's going to be slow. Everything is slow. So we'll check back and see what's going on. But as usual, I thank you guys for chiming in with me. And we will round up again next week. I enjoy doing these a lot. It's just kind of fun to, instead of just always looking at data, just kind of bouncing back and forth some of the other ancillary things we see in this business. And appreciate your input.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thanks, Rick.
Have a good
Always
week,
love
Rick.
hearing your wisdom. Have a great week.
All right. Take care, you guys. See you.